What is up, everybody? We're back in the studio. I can't believe it's so good to see you. Why am I in the studio? Why am I so excited? We don't want to screw this one up because I'm a big fan of his. And we're going to get into who our guest is today. You guys are in for a treat. Make sure you let a couple of friends know. Clear out your table. I know you're at home. We're all kind of locked up. But maybe this is a little break that you needed today. This is a moment because I'm a fan of his. And the beauty of the internet is I get to reach out to people. And sometimes they're like, hey, yeah, let's go do this thing. So on today's show, we're going to be talking to Pierre Kleinhouse, and here's a little bit of what I know about him. He's an award-winning freelance illustrator and designer. He's based out of Israel, and I hear that it's very warm there right now. Luckily, it's not as hot for us here, and he's worked with some really cool clients, and I don't even know how to say this. Is it Stella Artois, Broadway Theatre, Affinity Designer, HarperCollins, BBC Focus, and many more. Just to whet your appetite a little bit, here's a sample of some of his work. And there were so many things I could have grabbed, but look at this stuff. I love it because it's beautiful, it's graphic, it's got a cool style, it's fun, it's whimsical, and it's simple. There's so many things I love about this. So on today's show, we're going to get a little bit into his personal story, his insights, and the special treat is going to be doing a live illustration demo. Pierre Kleinhouse, welcome to the show.
Yeah, Pierre.
Woo!
Hey, Chris. Thanks
Hi.
for having me.
Of course. Thanks for doing this. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Oh my God. Yeah, I really hope my English works when I'm excited.
If it doesn't, we will fill in for you. We'll fill in some of the gaps. So I understand you want to tell us a little, like, are you going to do a little a deck presentation or are you just going to talk?
Well, I have just like a few tips and sort of like a process breakdown that I thought I'll share with you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not really like about like my personal story that much, but I mean, we can talk about it also if you want to. Like beforehand.
Well, maybe, yeah. Whatever feels good and comfortable for you.
Yeah, sure.
So why don't we get into this? Like, how do you describe what you do?
I'm an illustrator, but I mean, I study graphic design and illustration, and I feel like my sweet spot is, you know, the connection between illustration and branding and graphic design, basically. Yeah, so because illustration can go into a lot of different areas. So I guess I'm more into like the places where it connects with graphic design, and yeah, I guess you can see it in my work. Like I'm mostly concerned about like the composition, and that's like the first thing I'm always thinking about.
Yeah, I see it for sure. And that's why I'm drawn to it, because the world of illustrators, and in terms of like how many illustrators are out there, it's vast and there's so many, and it's kind of hard to stand out. I like your use of color, simple shapes, and you do things very graphic. So it doesn't surprise me that you said you study graphic design, but here's the part that I hate about you, that you can actually draw. People wonder this all the time. Can designers draw, and do you have to draw to be a designer? First of all, yes, some designers are talented like that. They can draw, case in point. And you do not have to know how to draw to be a graphic designer, although I think it's an advantage to be able to draw.
Yeah, totally. And I gotta say, like, I never felt like when I was a kid or like teenager, I never felt like I can draw very good. And I didn't even think about it like when I decided to go to the university and actually study like graphic design. It was because I felt like that's the closest thing I can do that relates to illustration. I mean, I really liked, you know, comic books and mangas and anime and all that stuff, but I didn't think I can actually, like, you know, have a career drawing stuff. So that's why I applied to graphic design, actually. So I mean, you can practice, you can learn, you know, it takes time, you know.
You know what I also like? That you share videos on YouTube and on social where I can see you working through the problem. So you'll do something like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then you'll change it and you'll add texture, or you'll change the way the fur is rendered, and then you'll take it away and you'll do it a different way. I really like seeing that because I learned something. I get to see your thinking process kind of laid out before us.
Funny you mentioned that, because that was like a totally like a mistake. I tried to make like the process video like at the beginning. I tried to make them very like smooth and, you know, like this perfect process, and then sometimes it just doesn't work for me. And then after posting a few of those processes that didn't really work well, I just realized, I got so many positive comments about these videos, and the reactions are just, I guess people more like connect better when they actually see like a real process and not like the perfect time lapse that you can find sometimes on Instagram. So definitely by mistake, like it happened, and now it's like a part of my videos, I guess.
That's very cool. So it started out as like you wanted to edit it out, but there it was, and now people like it. So this is a really great part, because I think a lot of us are afraid of putting out work that may or may not be perfect, quote unquote. I don't believe that you can actually make something perfect. And then what we wind up doing is sharing our process and being real and being authentic and genuine, and people really connect to that, and they're learning more because it's not always a straight line. Sometimes I've seen you rework things like 3 or 4 times. I was like, I was happy with the first version, but just seeing you work through the process and the iterative cycles that you go through are really super cool. So again, another great reason. So I want to stop talking for a second here. I want to get into the, oh shoot, are they saying that there's a problem here, Jonah?
What? Please check that.
Yeah, Ultra Design is saying we have an issue with the audio video sync.
Okay, I'll work on that.
Okay, thanks for letting us know about the audio video sync. So before we go further, we'll make sure that Jonah rectifies it. Okay, yeah, people are saying there's a audio video delay.
All right, just fixed it. Hopefully
Okay, Jonah just fixed it.
Let us
All right. I think I just saw Tristan on here. Okay, or Sean. I forget how. Okay, anyways. CZ Design, thank you very much. So hopefully the audio is fixed right now. And why don't we do this? Why don't we get into your insights? What have you learned, or can you share what your creative process looks like?
Yeah, sure. So let me share the slides that I have.
Okay.
With you guys. Just a sec. Let me share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
So, can you see my screen?
I can. Yeah.
Awesome. So, well, basically, it's just like a couple of tips and a personal story, which is kind of funny and embarrassing. So, I thought I'll share it here. And I mean, these are very basic tips, nothing very sophisticated. But I mean, I guess I'm a simple guy, and these work for me. So, why not share them with you?
Mm-hmm.
So, the first one is about using local references, which I think is really handy sometimes. And I did this design. It's a gig poster design for a festival, a local festival here in Israel, and it's a very small festival. It's something in my hometown, which is like super small. It's not even a town, and I just love this festival. It's like my favorite thing. It happens like every year. And there's live music, there's bands. It's been organized by this record vinyl shop. So there's like special edition vinyl records and stuff, and people come with their families. It's very like homey and warm, and I just really love this festival. And I've been doing posters for them for a few years, and I usually just do whatever I wanted with this poster because the brief was fairly open. But then I felt like I want to do the next poster and kind of relate and connect with this festival and kind of represent it in the poster. So I usually start working in my sketchbook. I don't know if you can really understand anything from this sketch, but it's basically like a guy holding a guitar.
I see it.
Yeah. So yeah, sometimes my sketches are like super messy, and it's just just a way to come with ideas fast. Mm-hmm. And for me, once I have like an interesting idea, I'll move to Photoshop, and then I'll actually come up with the final composition, because I think it's just way faster, and I can just play with the typography and make sure everything is in place instead of redrawing this sketch like 10 times in my sketchbook. I can just do it really fast in Photoshop. And I guess, again, this is where like my graphic designer kicks in. And I mean, for me, it's like the most important part of the process, like to nail down the composition and feel like everything is in place. So at this point, I also included like the details, like the title, the date, and the band's names here at the bottom. And then I moved on to the coloring process. I'll usually work very clean with like a pen tool or like just like simple vector shapes, geometric shapes. And once I'll go from the big shapes to the smaller shapes, and then I'll add some more details and work with textures and brushes and stuff. That's like my normal process, like most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And as I work on it, I'll sometimes change things like the head, or like I use like a different reference for the head, and actually use like photo references for the feet and the hands of the guy this time. But I'm like, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't really do it. My style is kind of weird that way. I mean, the dog here is not really realistic, but yeah, it's just kind of a weird mix, I guess.
Can I ask you a question? Can you go back to that
sure.
slide? Go back one slide.
Yeah.
Where do you get the style from? Like his beard, his hair, this guy with a torn shirt and sitting on a log. Is this actually something you saw, or is it a composite of many things? Because I think you have a very interesting and unique style that's just very alluring to me.
Awesome. So you opened the door for my tip, basically. So I'm just going to jump into here.
Okay. Oh, I see.
So that's like the whole tip, basically. It's about finding like real references that will make your work just a bit more unique. I mean, this is actually the guys who are coming to these events. This is like real photos from like previous festivals, and you can see like someone from the band sitting bare feet, playing the guitar, and people actually come with their dogs to the festival. And so I thought like mixing all of these things together will make it just more appealing for the audience to actually know what this festival is all about. And then I actually realized I can actually add these vinyl records that are being chopped away from the tree log. And then this is kind of a reference for the organizer of the festival, which is the vinyl record shop. So I think that, using all these references that are actually based on something real, just make it super unique. And then if I think about, like, if another designer from, I don't know, from Finland or from China will design his own poster and use his own references, things are going to look way different. And I think that's like the most important and like most interesting thing you can do, as a designer.
I see. Good tip. I like that clever, I didn't realize it at first, but the cutting away of the log, making the records. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it actually kind of came to me as I was working on it. It wasn't like there originally, or it wasn't in my sketch, but yeah, sometimes it happens.
Nice.
As you work on stuff, yeah. So yeah, that's like the first tip. Should I go to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one is basically the same, almost the same, but it's about using, coming up with your own references. So I'm just going to show you another process, basically. So This time it's a greeting card that I designed and illustrated for like this exhibition in Tel Aviv, and it was organized by a studio that makes fonts, mostly Hebrew fonts. So the brief was to create a greeting card and basically do whatever I want as long as I use the font, one of their fonts, in the greeting card. And then I always do like a research at the beginning of the process, and I looked up like, okay, what are like the most common Jewish greeting cards for the new year, and this is what I came up with. And these are great, these are awesome, but it's not really the type of illustration I'm interested in doing. So I guess sometimes you get stuck with like projects that you don't really know how you can actually connect personally with the brief, and this is where like this tip comes handy for me. So this is something I like to do from time to time, and I just decided to come up with my own references from Japanese art, actually, because I really like, personally, like I as a teenager, I really like manga and anime, and this is one of like the main reasons I actually went to study graphic design and illustration. So, woodblock prints like these from like 400 years ago. This is like my favorite art ever, and I thought like why not actually mix it with the local references I already have from the Jewish New Year greeting cards, and so this is the final greeting card that I came up with. And I just think it's a mix of both worlds, and I think this is what makes it very unique to me personally, because again, there's not many illustrators or designers who actually have both of these reference. I'm interested in Japan. I live here, and I use the honey and the pomegranate that are like very famous symbols for the holiday. I use the Hebrew typography that says like Happy New Year, but I also use like colors based on this print, and I use a tiger, and I think it just makes things like weird and interesting, and it's just like a cool trick that I like to use like from time to time, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Who got you into the Japanese woodblock prints?
So I didn't know about it like before studying. I always liked manga and anime, and that's definitely what pushed me over to study graphic design. And then like I remember just finding like this huge book in the library in the university with all these prints, and actually scanned them, which is very old school, I guess.
Right.
Scanned a lot of these prints and saved them on my computer. But yeah, that's like how I discovered this amazing art.
I love the fusion of the two cultures and how you interpret it through your lens. I think that's a great way to come up with a unique style.
Thanks so much. So, should I go to the personal story now?
Let's do it.
Do you have any questions? Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay, so this is just like, it doesn't really connect specifically to illustration. Just an interesting story about faking it until you make it, I guess, or as you like to say, Chris, believe it until you achieve it, right?
Right. You're paying attention. Thank you.
Oh man, I didn't say this. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Futur, and love your videos, and it really helped me a lot, I think, when I got started in, being a freelancer and all that. So yeah, definitely. So yeah, this story kind of connects with this idea of believing until you achieve it. So, I always liked exhibitions and design events and meetups and stuff like that, and I was always interested in doing more. And I think, this is a great way to actually also, you can develop your personal style this way and work on like interesting new work that is just for you without a client. And I think that's really cool. And also, the fact that you can go outside your studio and actually meet with other creators, I think it's just like super great. And it's something I always wanted to do more of, but I didn't really do anything big in this area when I got started. And I did some group exhibitions, like small group exhibitions in Tel Aviv, but that's basically it. And then I got this interesting invitation from this woman from Milan, from Italy, and she was organizing a very small exhibition in Milan. And she asked me if I want to, do something, send it over, basically like over email, and she would print it and use it in the exhibition. So I was happy to do it. Of course, I don't get a lot of invitations from exhibitions outside of Israel, and I thought, yeah, why not? Like I should do something new, and I came up with these two illustrations. But then I realized like I'm actually missing the best part of the exhibition, which is actually going to the opening night and meeting all the other guys. And for me, it's like a super important part, and they couldn't afford fly me over or anything like that. This was like super small exhibition, it's not in a gallery even, it's like in a small restaurant, something like that. So I guess I realized like I'm kind of stuck in a loop where I don't have any experience doing like, big exhibitions or anything like that, so I don't get new invitations to do like bigger exhibitions. I guess out of like other people can relate with this loop situation, like when you're looking for your first job
Yeah.
as a designer. I mean, we all been there, I guess. So I thought like maybe this is actually like a great opportunity for me to do something weird, and I'll just gonna invite myself to Milan basically and go to this exhibition. So I talked to the organizer again. I told her, you know what, I'm gonna do another artwork, a third artwork for the exhibition, but this time it's gonna be like a physical drawing, like a big painting. And because of that, like I can't send it over like over the email. I have to come there and do it at the gallery. So she told me it's a great idea, but obviously they can't afford it. They can't have me. They can pay for like the expenses and all that stuff. So I decided that I'm just gonna come. I'm gonna pay for my own flight ticket and hotel, and I'm gonna make it happen. And I guess I felt like I'm a bit of a fool for doing this. I definitely remember like speaking with some of my friends, and I told some of my friends like, I'm gonna go to this exhibition, and everybody was super excited at the beginning. And then when I actually explained like, oh no, I'm actually gonna pay for my own flight,
right?
And then people are like, why are you doing this, man? Like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely felt like an idiot when I did this, but I just wanted to experience like what's it gonna be like and meet these people. And I don't know, I just decided to do it anyway, I guess. And then I actually realized like I never drawn by hand before. I mean, I've been working on the computer for a few years by then, and I kind of developed my style using Photoshop mainly. And I realized like if I'm gonna draw there live at the opening night, I have to kind of practice at home first. So it was definitely nerve-wracking. I mean, it was a few days where I just couldn't figure it out, how to make this style that I use in the computer work when I'm drawing by hand. So it was very nerve-wracking, but eventually I figured it out more or less. So yeah, this is just like a few nights before the event, and yeah, I felt like I'm gonna be okay. Like it's getting there.
Are you doing this at home or in the hotel, or where are you doing these?
No, that's at home.
Okay,
yeah.
You're doing this at home. And for everybody that's wondering this question, what are you using? Are you using paint, markers? How are you doing this?
That's a great question. I actually had a terrible time with like working with real paint. So I decided eventually, because the details are so small and accurate because of my style, I actually use Posca pens for almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that must have consumed quite a few pens to be able to do that, right?
I mean, I use the big ones, and then I'll use like one or two for the whole thing.
Okay.
Basically, yeah.
Excellent. One more question before we continue, because this is from Ryan Walter. He's asking, what tools are you using on the computer? Is it Photoshop? Is it Illustrator? Is it something else?
Most of the time, it's either Photoshop or Affinity Designer.
Okay.
Nowadays. Yeah.
There you go. All right, please continue. Yeah. Here we go.
What's going on here? Yes, I just wanted to say, like, sometimes, I mean, I felt like I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. It definitely sucked. And again, like, I felt like I'm doing something kind of weird. But, and then when I got there, I was, I got to Milan and I was looking for the gallery the first time to meet with the organizer. And I remember, like, it was kind of dark. It was raining. And I kind of got lost for like 5 minutes, and I felt like the most idiot person like in the world, for doing this. And of course, like 5 minutes later, I met with them, and it was amazing, and everything was perfect. But at the moment, like it felt really scary, and yeah, I just wanted to kind of mention it. But anyway, the event itself was like super fun. I had a blast. I really enjoyed it. Met with a lot of like, cool guys and actually drew live for the first time. And even like later on when I came back, I realized I actually have now like this new technique basically, which I wouldn't have learned otherwise. I mean, I had to have something that kind of pushed me to practice, and now it's like my favorite thing to do is actually to draw by hand. And I have another process video. Let's see if it works. Yeah. So it was really like a bonus thing that kind of happened because of this exhibition. And I think that making this transition to drawing by hand also like learned me, like it got me to understand better like my style and what is actually important about my illustration and my style, I guess, if that makes sense. I mean, because you have to kind of let go of some elements because you can't do everything by hand. So I think this whole process really got me to understand better like what's my style is all about, I guess.
So are you saying that the limitations of drawing things by hand influence those constraints, how much you can do, right? Because obviously if you're doing very technical, tight things, it would just be a pain in the butt. So does it change the way that you design and think a little bit? Yeah,
totally. So yeah, like even like simple stuff like applying highlights and shadows. I really like this brush that everybody keeps asking me about, this grainy brush, and it's basically based on these dots, making these dots with the pen. It's basically the same. It's the same thing, keeping it simple. I don't use any other brush, basically, just like a regular brush for lines and this brush. And I don't know, it kind of makes sense for me that if I'm using the computer nowadays, I can actually do the same thing almost just by hand. And for me, it's a cool thing. I don't know.
It's just old school stippling, right? Just adding one dot at a time. Yeah, there's no secret. Yeah, it's work. That's what it is.
Exactly. Yeah, it's easier with a computer, obviously. Right. But I mean, actually, the final result with a painting at this size, when you see all the small dots in real life, it's actually much better. I really like it. But I mean, yeah, you can't really see it in the video, I guess.
I wanted to ask you, the first time you went to this exhibition, you said you bought your ticket, you invited yourself, so it cost you money to be there, and then you had to learn how to do traditional media with markers and ink or paint. Did you make any money? Did you sell that those two drawings or that drawing that you shared with us?
No. I mean, maybe like some people bought a few of the prints, but like just a few, like very very small amount of money. But I made the calculation. I realized it's gonna cost me like something like $500, to fly over and pay for an Airbnb apartment. And I mean, I was working at the time. I had a day job as an illustrator, and it felt like a reasonable amount of money that I can spend easily.
Yeah.
So, in terms of like the money, it wasn't like that big, and I think it really paid off eventually. I mean, it's kind of funny, I came back and I was basically the same person, but it felt like some other people, maybe clients, and just like people who didn't really know me personally, started to see me as I don't know, this really amazing artist who is flying all over the world for exhibitions. So that's the part about faking it till you're making it, I guess. And I don't know, it's kind of funny how things happen, but like just a few months later, I worked with this magazine from Brazil, which is called Zupi, and I did this cover for them and had a nice connection with the art director, and he's actually organizing these huge conferences for design and illustration in Brazil, and he just invited me to come and actually give a talk there. I share the same stage with Stefan Segmeister and like so many amazing people. So it was like super crazy, and I don't know, like maybe the fact of that. And I mean, I started getting these invitations like afterwards, and I actually got to do like an exhibition in China and travel there for like a whole week. And oh man, that was like such an amazing week. Really, really fun and interesting people. And later, like an year later, I got to do my first big exhibition, just me and another illustrator from Israel in Tel Aviv Illustration Week. So I don't know, it felt like one thing kind of led to the other, and the door was already opened once I did that, and people felt like it's okay to actually, invite me to speak about illustration and design. Now that I'm, I've been here and there and did all this stuff. So I don't know. It's a funny story, I guess. And here I am speaking to Chris now.
So wait a minute.
Definitely, yeah, it's the peak of my career for sure. It's downhill from here.
No, there's many more tops that you have yet to see. So this will not be the peak for sure. So the first exhibition, was it 2017? Did I see that date right? Wow, so it's not even been that long.
No, I graduated.
Oh my goodness.
In 2015.
Okay.
And
wow.
The last 3 years started to get interesting, I guess.
Amazing. So I'm sure some people who are watching this now or later are going to be punching themselves in the head like, oh my God, he's only been doing this for a few years and he's already at this level. That's fantastic. Congrats, man.
Thanks so much.
And thanks for sharing that story.
I am older. I started studying when I was 25, actually. So.
Wait, what did you do before?
You have to go to the army in Israel. So
I see.
Yeah. So when I was, and actually when I was 23 and I was free and I was starting to think about, what is it that I actually want to do? I realized okay, I'm going to study, graphic design. And then I actually applied to there's only 3 universities you can get, a diploma, I don't know what it's called, like an MBA, right? In graphic design. Anyway, so I applied to all these academies, and I basically failed, 3 exams, and then I had to spend another year and work on my portfolio and take the exams again, just to start studying. So I started pretty late, 25 years old. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks for sharing that story. Now, I think we're going to get into the demo part of this, aren't we?
Yeah, let's
do this.
So I'm going to unplug my my camera.
All right, you guys hang tight for a second. We're going to do some.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we actually have a video first. Sorry.
Okay.
You get to see my mess.
You wouldn't be a true artist if there wasn't a mess.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not even a Mac. Okay, so
don't say that too loud. Okay.
And we just
all right. So this is the brief basically that I came up with for myself because why not? It's always easier when you have a brief.
Yes.
So I'm gonna do a T-shirt or poster illustration. I'm gonna include you guys the Future with a reference with your hat, which I was really happy to see you came with the right hat.
I made the right choice, guys. I made the right choice.
Very good. I'm also going to represent, the fact that the channel really helped me to become a better freelancer. I'm going to try and use the brand colors of the Future, and of course, I'm going to have some fun. So I'm going to draw a skull.
Excellent. I already like this. I love where this is going. I can't wait to see you do this.
Yeah, so the first part is recorded because it's just going to take super long if we're going to do everything live. So this is just 10 minutes of the initial process. And yeah, as you can see, I'm just doing very, very freely and trying to come up with ideas at this point.
Just keeping it loose and working fast, right?
Yeah, very small doodle, and now it's like I did a few of those, and this is like the final doodle, I guess, which is a bit more. It took a longer, I guess. It's bigger.
I also now have realized you're left-handed.
Yeah.
So tell me what you're thinking about when you're drawing here. Are you looking at anything, or are you just kind of working out the composition?
Yeah, I'm looking at skulls, and I'm trying to come up with an interesting composition, but I've made a lot of changes like later in Photoshop. So yeah, this sketch is not that great, but maybe it's kind of like my process. Start with a very bad sketch.
Is this fairly typical for your process? On paper first? Draw ideas? Okay.
Yeah.
And then you'll scan it in?
Oh, no, I'm just I'm taking a picture with my phone.
I see. Okay, that works.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought like, I'm going to draw a skull, which is kind of like, I don't know, like a portrait of mine, which I like to do. And I'm going to use the hat and add some more like elements. So the Future's hat, like your hat, basically, with the text, and then do my own take on it, sort of. So,
so the hat's floating a little bit above the head, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and this pose of the hat didn't work.
Okay.
I tried a few, but I thought it would be interesting. Yeah, a little play button for YouTube, you know.
Nice. Those are what we call like what do they call those things, Jonah? Easter eggs?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, where you kind of look into it later and you're like, oh, I saw another thing hidden in there. That's a cool reference. Just like the log with the record. I didn't notice that before.
Exactly,
and then, as you're talking
that's
about
like
oh, it's nice.
Totally, yeah. That's like my favorite thing to do.
So instead of crossbones here, is that a pencil that you're going to be putting through the head? Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, do you listen to music when you work, or is just silence? Tell me a little bit about what else is happening here.
I have to. Yeah, I have to have some music playing to give me some momentum. Yeah. It's funny how that works, but it's like magic. So okay, so I thought like maybe there's a line coming out of the pencil, and then it will go across the designer, the word designer, and it's gonna write illustrator instead. You're gonna see it later in the process.
Okay, so we're now in Photoshop, right?
Yeah.
You scanned it in, or you took a picture, and now you're working through the problem, making sure that things are symmetrical and kind of the way that you like. Okay. I see what you're doing here.
Yeah. Always have like guidelines to make sure things are precise.
And Pierre,
do
you always include or have like things to include in your illustrations, like the God as a Designer hat, the brand colors? Do you always give yourself like these kind of constraints or things to incorporate?
I think I'll try to, at least. I mean, it's actually easier than just when a client say like do whatever you want. That's like the hardest thing to do, right?
Right.
I mean, you actually had a post about it like recently, no? Chris?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, here's the weird thing. A lot of young people, especially, who don't know this because they've been working with horrible clients or bosses that just micromanage everything, they think the dream is to have an open brief, like do whatever you want. It's not true.
Exactly.
Because that means everything can work, and that's going to be really tough. Because you sit there, Jonah, I like to work within constraints because then I can pour my creativity. And sometimes the constraint is a budget or a timeline, or to use a specific logo that you hate, and you get really inventive about it.
Exactly. So now, like, I'm relaxed and I don't need to think about the colors because the colors are given. So for me, it's actually easier, even if these are not colors I'll ever use. Like your blue and yellow are a bit crazy for me.
Yeah.
But it's actually interesting, and yeah, I'm interested to see like what's going to happen using these colors.
Now you do like to use really bright, brilliant colors too, but just usually just one color, right? Like a brilliant blue or a hot pink, magenta, or something like that.
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, not more than like 2 or 3 colors, I guess, most of the time.
And I think you told us before that you work using a Wacom tablet.
Yeah, I use a Wacom tablet, and by the way, this took me something like an hour.
Okay, good to know.
It looks like it's really fast right now, but it's something like an hour.
Yeah, and if you've seen any of Pierre's work, you'll notice that he reworks stuff all the time. Like me, I'm like, I get attached to my own drawing. I'm like, that's good, and I don't go back. You can see he's reshaping things all the time. Like, okay, the jaw, or the, what is that called? The muzzle?
Totally.
Yeah, he's making it taller, shorter, rounder, sharper, just tweaking it until it feels right.
Yeah. So it looks fast, as if I'm really, like, I'm very sure at what I'm doing, but I actually have no idea. I'm just testing stuff, and I try to keep things very loose and, see what works, basically.
I noticed you dropped the eyes down a little bit there.
Yeah.
It kind of gives it a cooler look because the forehead gets a little bit bigger and the eyes kind of are drawn. It looks a little bit more menacing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit more angry. The eyebrows, I think, really helped. Like the position of the eyebrows.
The arch there. Yep. And then the eyebrows added in. Yep. So I noticed that you did this in the sketch, but there's this line that's circling around him, and I think I know why you put that in there, just because of you want to create this organic shape to kind of create this asymmetry in it. But what is that ultimately going to be?
You mean the red line?
There's a line going from the eye and it circles around the back of the head and goes out the other side or something like that. That curved.
Yeah. So
what is that?
It's the line that is being drawn by the pencil, basically.
Oh, I see. Oh, I get it now.
Yeah, it's kind of messy, but the point here is, like, the idea here is that it's gonna cover the word designer, and it's gonna be written, instead it's gonna be written like God is an illustrator.
I like that. Okay.
So it's kind of hard to understand, but I think it will be better, like, as I keep working on it.
Yeah,
hopefully.
I see it. No, it is. And I'm really glad that you're on our show showing this, because people ask all the time, like, when can we see more illustration stuff? I'm like, just wait, something's coming, and here we are. So this is great for all those people. This is going to have to hold you over for a little while, because I know we're very design centric here. There we go.
Yeah.
And a bunch of lefties in the audience watching live just want to say hello, and they're like, yeah, lefties do it better. Sure. Sure thing.
Totally. Yeah, so I'm switching to real text now because it's going to be easier to understand what's happening. Yeah, and I changed the position of, like, the word illustrator also to be on top of the hat later on.
That came to you a little bit later, or?
It did. I wasn't sure, like, where to place it, but it felt right. Yeah, just next to the text. It's gonna be easier to read it. It looks like a mess right now, but
my buddy Angel Acevedo, who's the guy behind the hat, the God is a Designer hat, he's on watching right now. He's like, it's dope to see other people's process. Most definitely.
That's so cool. Okay, that's better already.
And it's so violently crossed out there. Okay.
Well, it's a self-portrait, so I thought it will be interesting to. I mean, at first I thought maybe I should do, like, God is a designer and illustrator, but then I thought, like, it's funnier if the designer is crossed over.
Wait a minute, you just dropped in a new pencil?
Yeah, I just found one on Google Images,
and this one's in perspective, right? Like, it's not flat.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not that good at drawing in perspective, so I guess I did the lazy thing here,
or the smart thing.
Yeah, but Yeah, just a shortcut. But yeah, I use references all the time. I mean, I'm not ashamed of it. I mean, that's totally fine, and everybody does, and that's totally okay as long as you don't, totally rip off somebody's else work. And
Yeah.
this is just like a very small element.
Right. It's reference, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So there's a comment here from DWLZ, I believe that's, or DWIZ, I can't read that, but it says, not a lefty, but even with my right, I suck, haha. And it says, tendon and nerve damage, yay. Sorry to hear that. It doesn't really matter if you're left or right-handed. It's interesting sometimes because lefties are a little less, or a little bit more rare in the world, right?
Yeah, and I think we actually live less time.
Really?
On average, yeah. That sucks.
Wow.
So we have to make it count, I guess.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, so a little bit of money, like dollar bills around, and a subscribe button, of course. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. This is a great opportunity to plug in. So
yes.
Yeah.
We'll make sure we include the link to your channel because Pierre does also have a YouTube channel, guys, so don't forget. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notifications on both our channels, but we'll make sure we have the link in the show notes.
That's awesome.
There we go. It's starting to come together now. Okay, so how much time has elapsed in real time right now?
Yeah, so like just a little bit over an hour.
Okay.
And we're almost done. I just blocked in some colors to see what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
I can already see, like, it's interesting how, when you come back to a drawing after you sleep on it, I can already see, like, I'm gonna change the back to a darker color, like the darker blue. But yeah, there's sometimes you have to kind of sleep on it and until you find a better solution. So I think this is like the end of the process. Yeah. Okay. This is like what I came up with until now.
Okay. Ooh, it's exciting now. Okay. Are we going live now? Are you going to be working on this live with us?
Yep.
All right. Here it comes. This does not happen that often on our channel, so I'm really excited to see this. Okay, so now we're in Photoshop on a PC with a Wacom tablet. And the reason why we can't see Pierre right now is we're out of ports or channels or whatever, guys. So you'll have to like look at my ugly face while he's drawing, okay?
Yeah, I think my computer can't handle it anyway, so it's actually better this way.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so I think the darker color will work better here. Mm-hmm. And now you see that I'm actually super slow when I work, and yeah.
In real time. Okay, so you're using the lasso tool there.
That's not that exciting, I guess. Seeing the real speed here. So yeah, I'm gonna use like a darker tint, and then I don't know, it just makes sense to me.
Okay.
Hopefully. And now this is just like a mess. So I'm just gonna lower the opacity here. Can you see my layers panel?
Yeah. Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. So, and I'm just gonna work with my pen tool. I'm gonna recreate it.
Oh, interesting. Now you're gonna get really precise, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're using the pen tool with shapes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That way you can adjust it, and you can get really clean lines. All right. Guys, this is where the magic happens. It's not in the bedroom, it's right here. You're gonna get to see this.
Very slow magic, but yeah.
And you're probably making little decisions here and there to kind of refine the line, the curve, and the sharpness of the angles, right?
Yeah, I already saw that I like, I don't know, the size of the skull felt right, even though like the line is actually here, like a bit taller. I think this works. So I'm just gonna do this, and I'm gonna duplicate and flip, and yep, that's it.
There we go.
See? Yeah, we're good.
Yep. This is where all the graphic design skills come into play here.
Exactly, yeah. So, okay. Now for the hat. No, let's keep working on this one. So, yeah, the eyes as well.
So will you be doing a hybrid of Illustrator, like clean vector, and Photoshop painted things, or will it just be very clean vector the whole time?
No, I'm gonna use, like as always, I'm gonna use my brush, my one and only brush later on,
Okay.
to add some textures and like shadows and stuff.
Now, when you say your one and only brush, it's because you're just using default brushes most of the time?
Yeah, I just use like a simple line brush for just like very clean and simple lines, like this one. And I have grainy brush that does this thing basically. These very small dots.
Oh yeah, they are tiny.
And
okay.
That's all I use basically.
I see. And that's a brush you made of just like a bunch of little dots?
I didn't make it. It's actually, it comes free with your Photoshop. You just need to find it. It's an old brush, so it's in the legacy folder of the old brushes. Of Photoshop. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I like to use basically.
So pretty much, you all have the exact same tools Pierre has. There's no secret brush. There's no.
I'm a simple guy.
He's a simple guy. And he's doing this work, so you really have no excuse, everybody, except for the skill. Other than that, we're all the same. But that's good to know.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I bet you could just create a couple of line brushes and a couple of stippling brushes and sell it as a kit.
Oh my God, yeah, you're so right. I
think you need to do that.
You know, yeah, I'm making a mistake that I'm using just free brushes.
They want
your own custom brush.
The Pierre custom signature brush.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you should do that and then sell them for not a lot of money. And then every day people will be buying you lunch based on the purchases they make.
Oh my God, if I had like $1 for every comment on YouTube and Instagram about the brushes.
Oof, they're already
See?
Rich.
That's what you need to do, man.
Totally. So how the speed? I mean, is this?
It's perfect. No, I want to see it in this speed because when people speed it up, those time-lapse things, they're very hard to figure out sometimes, like what you're working through.
Totally.
Right? So right now, I can already see like a really awesome skull and the way that you drew the eyes and the nose. That's really cool. So I can't wait to kind of keep seeing like where this evolves into. You guys, we're doing this live, so welcome all 424 people watching now live with us. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And I see that the audience has slowly grown over time. Initially, we started out with a little bit more than 100, so we're getting to the juicy stuff here, guys. So hang in there. Some people are tuning in quite late, so they're like sleepy, but I'm gonna make it through this.
It's really nice. So yeah, I'm gonna do the hat now.
Nihilish is making fun of me, Chris, with his business mind, LOL. Well, this is a popular thing. Like when you're a known artist, illustrator, people want to use the tools that you use. So it makes a lot of sense, right?
And you gotta eat.
Look at this, guys. Let's just do a little business basics here while Pierre is working here. Michael Jordan. The Nike shoe, the famous one, the retro one that everybody is like coveting and bought. I was watching The Last Dance, and I think they had a very modest goal for the first year, and they blew that out like by a crazy factor. And why is that? Why did everybody want to buy this shoe? Because you want to get this much closer to being like Michael Jordan. That's what it's about. Because you feel connected to Michael and his greatness. His Majesty, the heir supreme, by wearing the same shoe or wearing the same jersey. See, so that's why it's like we want to be connected to you, even though we know in our mind, we're not going to play basketball like that. I'm not going to be able to dunk or float through the air. I'm not going to be able to draw like Pierre, but I'm just a little bit closer. It makes me feel, like you're sort of within reach, sort of out of reach. But that's the idea.
Wanted to be like Mike.
So this one is...
But I wish like people would ask me more about like how did I actually practice.
Okay, so let's talk about that. How did you practice?
I mean, I think a lot of people like just think about those technical stuff instead of actually focusing on like how did I practice, because that's the only like relevant question that can help them, I think. And how do I practice? I I think I can break it down into like two things basically. It's really hard, but as I'm working on this hat to think and speak, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I was trying to fill the air so that you can focus. I know how hard it is.
Yeah.
Because, you know, everybody's watching you. Every mouse click, they're looking at it. It's like, oh.
Totally. Yeah. I just need to figure out this hat. This
Okay.
hat is, yeah. I've drawn it like 3 times in the first like video that we saw earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know this. Like I've changed
I saw
the pose of the hat.
Right.
Yeah.
First it was front facing. You drew one profile in the very early sketch with a really exaggerated brim. I'll tell you what, I can work as a model for you. Jonah.
Yeah, use your photo actually for as a reference.
Angle.
I got it right here, man.
There you go. I'll do the other side.
This one. Yeah, perfect.
Fashion luxury brands. Anybody? This vase is for rent. You guys can hire me as a model. Okay. Yeah, drawing the hat, the shape, and the brim, and getting the right dimensionality out of it, it is tricky. I've drawn a few hats my day.
Yeah, it's funny. They don't really look like anything. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not my thing to draw. I definitely wouldn't draw a hat if it wasn't such like a big reference that I kind of felt like I have to use.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you think of the hat really as a plane and with a cylinder, it starts to make a little bit more sense because this is a flat brim hat. And it's a little easier to draw than the baseball style ones, which are curved, which is basically a quarter cylinder or a flat plane that is then just droopy, right? So, hey Jonah, why don't we do this? Can you grab me a marker with like a white piece of paper? I'm gonna try to see if I can explain something here.
Yeah.
So why don't we park it on this screen here, while we can watch Pierre work and me talking and Jonah getting me a marker.
Yeah, be right back.
Okay, cool. Thanks, man. All right.
All right, we're getting there, I guess. That's better.
Mm-hmm. Henrik is asking, please start teaching. I believe you already are, and you need to just check him out on his different channels on Instagram and especially on YouTube, where you can see the longer videos.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really teaching, but I mean, I've been thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I need to do like a course or something.
And Jonah's here to the rescue. Thank you, Jonah. All right, we got something in here for sure. And while you're drawing, I will draw too. Jonah, these are, fortunately, dry erase markers. All of these are?
All these?
Well, no, those are. And they're going to smear all over the place. Let's see. Metallic color pen. Okay, let me try and work with this one. All right.
Is it working?
Yeah, well, I'll try and get this one to work. All right, so you're using an ellipse there to kind of figure out the end cap or the eraser head.
Yeah.
This does seem like, for a more complicated illustration, this is a pretty long process, right?
Yeah, I mean, it takes time. You know, it's a few hours of work most of the time.
Just a few, not like a couple of days worth of work?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on the illustration, but yeah, it can take like days. It's funny because I always look at the recording and then it seems shorter, but actually I record just like the parts where I actually work on it, but sometimes I just sit and stare at the illustration and think about it. So I guess it's longer actually most of the time. Okay.
What's the longest you've ever worked on a piece?
I think, I don't know, like 20 hours, something like that.
Jeez.
That's not bad.
I mean, it's not like super long.
No.
It's reasonable.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, the pencil is getting there. Are you drawing, Chris?
I am.
What am I missing? Oh, I'm missing all the
Well, I'm going to show people.
the action.
Can we see this, Jonah? Am I in the right spot there? So I wanted to show you this simple geometry of this, right? So if you look at the top of the hat, it's basically a cylinder with a rounded edge on the top. And what I learned in school, I studied graphic design as well, but I did take life drawing and industrial design sketching classes. They called it VisCom. And so if you are able to break things down into the simple shapes, a cylinder, a square, a sphere, a cone, a pyramid, then things become a lot easier, right? So the first one that I drew, and I added some cut lines in there so you guys can see it. And I'm going to work on the bottom here, and I'm going to show you how to draw the cap when it's from underneath like this. Okay, so the first one is like we're looking down at it. I hope that was clear. Jonah, can we see this or is it? Yeah,
we
okay.
can see it.
And then I'll work on the bottom one. I'll be right back, okay?
So what are you doing here, Pierre?
So yeah, I'm just working on the eraser part. Seems like it's looks something like that. I'm not sure, but
Oh,
yeah, I'm just gonna
look
go
at
with
that.
it. I'm not sure.
Man, as soon as you add that stippling, it just goes to another level. It really does.
That's the secret, I guess. Yeah. Maybe this part is a bit smaller. Yeah. I don't know. Seems fine. Let's do the bottom part now. Pencil. Man, that's tough. Like a penciling perspective in a hat, which I never drew before. Definitely out of my comfort zone here.
Living on the edge.
Yeah.
Let me see what's going on here. Did I mess up my appointment?
Ooh.
No, I don't think so.
No, your podcast is at 3.
Yeah, but I just got a Skype message from him. And I always panic, you know? Like, oh my God, I screwed up, double booked. No, we're still okay. All right. Now I want to show you guys the hat, the next version of this. And I'm going to shade it in a little bit so that you guys can see a little bit better. Okay. So here you see I drew the cylinder, but this time I was looking at it from the bottom. So this part should be, right? So this is the plane. I'm sorry. I'm like trying to coordinate myself backwards here. So there it is. That's the plane. And then I just round off the corners and it's going to look like a hat. As soon as I start adding shading, and then I'll do a version without all the construction lines so it's a little bit easier for you to see, and I'll even drop in a skull or my lame version of a skull. So we're drawing, we're learning together. All right.
Yeah. Okay. I'm starting to like these colors. They grow on you, I guess.
It's kind of like the IKEA colors, if you really think about it. Yeah.
My next sponsor. Hopefully.
Yeah.
After seeing this. Okay. The pencil is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I need this. How does this go? Awesome.
Let's see, Jonah, are there any questions in here?
Oh, let me go through it. I was getting mesmerized by the illustrations. Oh, I did want to touch on that topic that Ya left. How he got into designing, like how that's more important than the actual tool.
Yeah.
Did you want to talk about that, Pierre?
Sorry, I didn't hear you very well. What did you say?
Earlier, you had mentioned how people ask you like what kind of tools you're using and how they,
Oh, yeah. How to practice.
yeah, how to practice. There we go.
Yeah. So yeah, I think there's two things you should do if you want to get better at illustration, and maybe, like, I don't know, maybe people are not speaking about it that often, but so usually, if you ask about it, people will tell you to do like studies from real life, which are super important, but I think it's just like half of what you need to practice. Um, and I think it's actually really important to study also just drawings of other illustrators and artists that you like, and try to break down like how they did a certain illustration. And again, it's almost like copying, but as long as it's for studying, I think it's actually really important. And I'm pretty sure like the Renaissance artists and all these people from artists from the past actually did this quite a lot. But nowadays, I don't know, it's kind of one of these things nobody speaks about. So I think, it's actually good to do kind of, study both, both from real life and from other artists. And also, I mean, I try to break it down to, sometimes I just practice line work, like sketching with a pencil in my sketchbook. And sometimes I'll do like color breakdowns when I actually try to finalize a piece using Photoshop or whatever software program you use. So yeah, that's pretty. I mean, that's kind of general, but that's I think what you need to do if you want to just improve fast.
Yeah, a friend of mine who some of you guys may know, his name is Ash Thorpe. And he told me when he was learning how to draw, one of his instructors would say, if you suck at hands, draw 100 hands. If you suck at feet, draw 100 feet, and just do it over and over and over and just keep learning. And eventually, by the 99th hand, you're going to get good at it. You're going to start to understand things. But here
Exactly.
we go. I'm not saying I'm Pierre, but let's see if you can see it.
Oh, wow.
There.
I see it really small on my screen. Looks
Right?
amazing.
Can you guys see that? So I tried to draw the skull kind of the way he did, and we're looking up at the hat. I realize right now that the hat is pointed so far up that it's going to be impossible to see the God is a designer text. So I'm going to make an edit on this, and I'll show you back. I'll show you my update in a little bit. Okay.
Nice.
So Rivalda is giving you a lot of support in the chat. She said it's probably very difficult for you to answer questions while doing the illustrations. She's like, in all caps, you can do it, Pierre. Keep going, with a muscle like, boom. You can do it. Very strong.
Ah, that's awesome. Thanks so much.
Someone asked, well, and you kind of touched on this already. Any tips for a self-taught designer for improvement?
Any tips, like in what topic? I don't know. It's kind of general.
Let me ask them again.
Any tips?
For improvement. I guess just to get better at illustration.
I think he already said it, to practice, to not only study from real life. Yeah.
Any more?
Yeah. I also, I think that a lot of people are very interested in like finding their style as an illustrator. It's something I also get a lot of questions about. How do you develop your style? But I mean, I think it's the most important thing is to actually understand, what type of illustration you actually like doing, and what are other artists that you actually admire. And I mean, once you know that, you have like a direction that you actually can aim for, in terms of like what kind of technique do you need to develop, and so I guess the first thing, I mean, I like this, I don't remember like who spoke about it, but what's his name, like the chef, Gordon Ramsay. So I think somebody asked him about like what's the best tip for like, well, what's the most important skill for a chef? And the answer he was saying is, you have to have a good taste. So, and that's so true. I mean, what's your taste? What the type of illustration you actually like is the most important thing. And that's like the first step. And I realized like when I answer stuff and talk to you, I'm just automatically stop and I don't draw. So sorry about that. Okay. I'm just moving the screen and that's it.
Yeah. So why don't we do this, guys? Let's give Pierre a chance to keep drawing here. So we understand how hard it is to draw, to concentrate, and let's minimize the questions here. So you guys, maybe you can ask.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay. If you want, you can ask some other kind of question. Maybe Jonah and I can help you with those. Okay.
Yeah, this one's an easy one. Who are some artists that inspire you?
Oh yeah. So I think I mean, when I was still studying, I was at the final year at the university, and I started. I got the opportunity to work in a screen printing workshop that we had in the university. And then, as I was starting to work there on my prints, I discovered some of my favorite artists. I mean, until today. I mean, so definitely Drew Millward and Macbeth and Studio. All these guys make amazing illustrations, and they use a lot of screen printing. So, and because of that, because it's like a limited media that you have to print each color in a separate screen. So you don't use a lot of colors because it's too much work. So I guess, I started looking at the work and saw that they don't use a lot of colors, and this is why I started to limit my color palette as well, even though I don't print that much of my work. So I guess, these artists definitely inspired me and helped me understand, what type of illustrations I want to start doing. So Drew Millward is amazing. And Studio and Macbeth, definitely. Okay, that's nice and shiny.
Nice.
Yeah, that works.
Now, on this one, are you planning to use any black, any line work, or is it just shapes and shading?
I'll usually just work with shapes and lose most of the line work.
I see.
I'm not sure about the skull, but I mean, if I can lose the line, I'll definitely lose it as a general rule in my work process.
Sorry, Jonah. I'm actually responding to Jeff, who I'm supposed to be doing a podcast with. There's some confusion in time. So, guys, I normally don't do that, but when your phone's blowing up, when somebody's expecting you to be on a call, I have to attend to that. So we're probably going to have to. We're going to keep going here for sure.
Oh, yeah, I got the time mixed up.
Something. He's in a different time zone. That happens a lot. All right, let's get back to the show here. Let's see. Okay, here's a question I can handle. This is from Jacob. Chris, with many exclamation points. How do you respond when you present a project to your client and they say, "That's easy, I could have done that"? That's a tough one to respond to. And I think when you hear somebody say that, it's kind of disheartening. It could kind of feel like a punch in the gut because it's not easy. And even if it were easy, it's easy for you because you've put in the time and the practice. But probably in my world, that doesn't happen that often because we do actually build very complicated things. But I usually will then respond, sometimes what looks simple and it's easy, it's actually harder to do that because you have to show a lot of restraint in designing things. And so we tried lots of things, and ultimately through the process of elimination, we're able to come up with this thing, right? Like if you look at almost every big brand that's out there, it almost looks like as if somebody could just type it in on a computer and say, we're done. I remember there was a bit on Jimmy Kimmel. He was giving the design team at Wolf Owens, something like that, the ones who designed the Uber logo. He said, so 6 months later, this is what they came up with, and they spent $300,000 to do that. Isn't that just you typing in as a font? Well, that's an easy joke to have, and we can all laugh, and designers and creatives can laugh at that. But what you don't realize is they go through so many studies and ideation that they all kind of come to this point of clarity, and then they make something very simple. And if you look around in the world, you'll notice that some of the biggest, most valuable brands in the world, they have this kind of confidence where they don't have to add too much. Like you look at the Nike logo with the swoosh and in the Futur bold condensed typeface, oblique, it's very simple. And you notice almost always that the mom and pop shops have 35 layers of things, 14 different typefaces. It's because they think that's what good design is. Just add lots of stuff to it. And here is the point of contrast for you. And I'm going to sound like an Apple fanboy, and I don't care if you think that. It's probably true anyways. But when you go inside an Apple store, arguably one of the most successful retail experiences from how much they sell per square foot, and this is a thing that you can look up. And you look at it, it's wide open, beautiful light, simple materials. And if you count the number of materials, you're going to see like, okay, there's a lot of restraint here, and it creates a feeling of a premium experience. It feels very upscale and high-end, helping them to justify the price of the computers that they're selling to you. Now, conversely, and since I've traveled a little bit, and one of my favorite places to go is Taiwan. My wife is from there. I'll walk in to a computer department store or something like that, and it's the exact opposite experience. They literally have signs hanging all over every display. The boxes are littered with typography, price points, and deals, and each one is its own island screaming for attention. And then here, my mind is like, I want to pay as little as possible. They're giving me this flea market swap meet vibe, this used car salesman vibe, and that's where they're not confident. They're trying to pitch and sell you all the time. Let's switch examples then. Here's another example. In real life, you'll see in a room full of people, maybe it's at a gathering, some kind of function that you're going to and you're networking, and then there's a person, there's a guy standing there. It's really well dressed, not too flashy. Everything is just really understated, and everything is in its right place, but it's not screaming. And then there's another guy who's walking in with a bright turquoise blue suit with zebra print on it, with crocodile loafers, pointed shoes, and a big open collar, and this poof of hair that's walking around like with gold and eyeliner and makeup. You think, okay, and different strokes for different folks. No judgment there on the person, but it's like, which one's more confident? Which one would you rather spend more time with? Which one do you think is more successful just by that description? Now, of course, we know that people in entertainment especially dress in very flamboyant ways. It's ways to get attention. They're what's called like peacocking. It's like, hey, everybody look at me. But you may want to spend more time hanging out, getting to know the person who's quiet, who's understated, who's reserved, who's poised, and has a very classic look. There's a time and place for both. So in case I come in one day with makeup and a big hairdo and a bright turquoise jacket, it's a different vibe. But that's what I'm talking about. So people often will mistake complexity with labor, and the harder you work on something, the more valuable it should be. And it's actually the opposite. Okay, let's check in with Pierre. Like, how are we doing now?
I think it's going nicely.
Yeah. So the play
Yeah.
button is glowing, right? It's internally illuminated. Is that the idea?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I added some just some stippling dots here. Yeah, the pencil seems nice. I guess I'm gonna fix the line that goes on top of the text. I'm gonna just use the pen tool this time.
Okay. I noticed something, and I want to ask you a question. When you're stippling in some of the highlights and the shadows, do you first create a shape with your lasso tool and then you paint in it like a stencil, a mask?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. Yeah, it definitely helps when I need to have, let's say, one of the edges should be like, sharp. Sometimes you need like a sharp edge. Sometimes you need it to be like gradient. So, yeah.
Very good. I love how you drew the bottom chin jaw thing. It's very cute. It's got a lot of style to it, right? And I think this is where I get to see you injecting your POV into it, because I would have drawn a more realistic jaw, but something like this
one. Yeah.
Yeah. So this skull that you drew has really angry eyes, and a skull inherently is not very friendly. But the way you drew that lower jaw, it's like, it's all right.
Yeah, it's a little fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I
cute.
guess that's like my personality and like my own personal taste. And I mean, I never do like really hardcore, like gory stuff in my illustrations. So.
Right.
Damn, that pencil looks good.
With all the shading and the shadow there, Jonah, you getting seduced by the stippling?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Jonah's going to forget that he's editing this too. He's just going to be he's going to be stuck on looking at you work there. And I wouldn't blame him. I like you playing in opposites like this, the contrast of a scary, menacing skull, but the way that it's rendered is very simple and graphic. And the teeth aren't sharp. They're kind of rounded, and it's like the most friendly zombie you've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love cartoons, and that's like a major influence on my style and my work. And yeah, that's like my personality, I guess. Yeah, I'm just not that scary. I'm a nice dude.
Now, do you decorate your studio, apartment, or wherever you're at with cute things too?
I have like a lot of posters here on the wall, and some I don't know, like dolls and stuff, but not too crazy. Mostly like posters and prints from friends. I should send you some posters.
I would love that if you did. Now, I think also your style is so marketable, and like you said, the brief was to design a T-shirt or a poster, and I can see this working on a lunchbox. I could see this on a thermos. I can see this as a sticker or a print on a shot glass. And I think the reason why it's so marketable is you can appeal to both men and women, right? Because the skull is usually like, oh, I'm a tough guy. Skull's a pirate, rebel. And then the kind of soft teeth and the bone jaw that you did at the bottom with the rounded teeth too. It's like, oh, it's kind of cute. I like that. So I can see women getting into this and wearing it on a shirt or maybe a pattern or a print. I think it's really cool.
Oh my God, I'm so happy you said it and it's recorded. I don't know if my wife is watching right now, but she's like, oh, again with the skulls.
Is she rolling her eyes as she says that?
Yeah, and so yeah, I'm happy. You think that it's relatable for women as well, and I can see like in the comments and like on Instagram and stuff that yeah, I mean that's actually true, and actually dividing the crowd into like male and female and all that stuff, it's kind of old anyway. It's like not that relevant, I guess, nowadays.
Now you drew a pen stroke, and how did you make it all ragged like that?
What do you mean, the pen stroke?
Like it's not smooth, right? It's got texture to it on the edges.
This one?
The
yellow?
Yeah, the yellow line that's circling around everything.
Oh no, I think it's just like the layer. This
Oh,
one.
I see.
Which
Okay.
is the sketch.
I got it.
Yeah.
The original layer underneath it. I see.
Yeah, I'm gonna use it. Whenever you see those circles, I'm just selecting areas and I'm just deleting the sketch and cleaning my illustration. So, yeah, as I told you before, I'm trying to slowly just get rid of all the lines and stay with mostly like just shapes, simple shapes.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a business question in case somebody's watching this who's thinking to themselves, yeah, I think I need to hire Pierre. How do you structure your fees? Is there some general guidelines you can give us in case somebody's thinking, you know, I need you to design something for our studio or our company, our event, something like that. How do you structure your fees?
It really depends on, I think, a few things. Like, you know, first of all, like the size of the company.
Okay.
The type of illustration, and especially like the number of sketches, like different sketches. I'll usually try to come up with at least like 2 or 3 different sketches. And that's actually the hardest part, you know, actually coming up with new ideas. So that would definitely like affect the price. And then, yeah, it really depends on like what's the illustration, like what actually do I need to draw, and you know the size of the client, like the size of the company.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have like a ballpark figure, like from like if somebody, I don't know, like let's say a design studio, it's like, you know what, we would love for you to do something for us, and they're not a giant corporation. It's not like they're going to slap it on 1 million T-shirts or something. Is there a ballpark?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, I think like it's pretty wide, but I would say from $1,000 to $5,000. It's a pretty big range, but
yeah. But that's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that. And, you know, sometimes I'll take like very small, like private commissions, and then I might even do something for less. But, you know, just for like private people who need like, I don't know, like a tattoo or something like that.
Oh, that would be cool.
You know? Yeah. You know, it happens here and there. And like, I'm okay with adjusting my price for like smaller, like super small companies and like personal clients. As long as I can, you know, can have the time to work on it and I'm not like super busy.
I see. That's good to know. So companies, brands, studios, designers, people who want to collaborate with you, Pierre, if it's a smaller-ish thing, prices start at about $5K, guys. So that's kind of the benchmark there. If you have at least $5K, at least, reach out to them after the show.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for that. Yeah, that's good. I don't know if
it's almost like as if I teach people how to price, right, and talk about money. It's almost as if. So yeah, and
no, I think I really enjoy seeing your videos and the way you approach like pricing and working with clients and all that stuff. I think it came to me like when I just got started as an illustrator. I don't remember like how long do you guys actually make videos, but. Yeah, you started like 3 or like 4 years ago, right? At least.
Yes, the Futur started about 3 or 4 years ago. I think 4 years, but I started making videos in 2014, but not as the Futur.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I just got started basically freelancing, and I had zero idea like what I'm doing, and these videos really helped me. So.
Excellent. Good to hear.
So yeah, I'm just gonna draw the dollar bills now.
All right.
Perfect timings.
Talking about money, perfect transition there. All right, while we're talking about that, I can't, how do I pronounce this person's name here? I'm not going to pronounce the person's name, but she's asking, is it still worth it to pursue illustration as a career? Like practically speaking, especially for beginners, illustration is getting more commodified with flat monthly fee services as an example. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh man, that's really interesting. But I think you can say the same thing on like graphic design.
Yes, you can.
And like even like UX stuff. Like there's like a lot of like AI that starts to develop and start to get into the market of even like UX design. And I think as long as you're doing like a good job and you find a niche and you're good at what you're doing, I guess that makes sense and that can work. Right? I mean, I need a reference for this dollar bill.
Okay. While Pierre's looking for some reference there, I think the way you have to look at it like this is, as the market gets more crowded and more people are doing it, you have to then do something that makes your work stand out just by a little bit. And I think I've tried my best to point out some of the things that makes Pierre's work so intriguing, because there's no shortage of artists and illustrators out on the internet, especially if you go on places like Behance or Instagram. There's a ton of people doing really cool work, but the ones that stand out, they've got a little edge, a style. He shared a couple of tips with you. His number one tip was use local references, and he was mixing his love for Japanese woodblock prints with his Jewish culture living in Israel, and putting those two together and finding that interesting combination where the two fit. And he's taking things that I think are typically seen as like real tough guy kind of things, and then adding a little cuteness to it, rounding out some things and changing the proportions. And I think that's what makes his work stand out. So there's room if you're willing to stand out from the crowd. So if you wind up doing what everybody else is doing, no, you're going to be commodified and just lowest price wins.
Yeah, exactly.
But I also think it's a wonderful time to be alive and to exist as a image maker, because the barriers to you creating your own success and fame are almost non-existent. The internet has squashed and crushed all those gatekeepers to the galleries and saying this is worth it being art. Look what's happened with Banksy's career. And I have a friend, I can't tell you his real name because he goes by the name Cryptic, and he does calligraphy as abstract patterns, and that's all he does now. He doesn't work as a hired gun anymore. He does art, and it's really cool to see his work. So it's just like flat edge kind of brushwork, and he's very good at it. His name is Cryptic, and he puts work out there. I have another friend who used to freelance for us from time to time. His name is Chris Saunders, and he does big murals now. And that's really cool. I don't think that would have been able to exist just 10, 15 years ago, prior to the way that social media is giving artists and illustrators exposure. And the lines between being a commercial illustrator and an artist are blurring, and you can move between the two worlds if you plan your career correctly. So there it is, pros and cons.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one works. Yeah, feels funny working on such a small detail, but yeah. I need a circle, right?
Mm-hmm. I see. So here's the follow-up question or statement. And she's saying, Chris, ironically, I'm applying to a company offering flat money fees for illustration services. She's from the Philippines. Look, here's the thing. I think you need to do something to make money so that you can survive and pay rent and take care of yourself, and then any of the loved ones that you care to take care of. So here's the thing. Once you get beyond that of your basic survival needs, I think you have to start working on your side hustle. And I hate to say it, I know people don't like that term, but you got to start building up your own name, your own style, and your own reputation. Otherwise, you're going to be seen as a gear, a cog in the machine. And I hate that situation exists, but there's not much that I can personally do about it. So what you do is you bide your time. You go to work, you do what they tell you, the corporate masters, and you just do that all-you-can-eat style of illustration. And then on the meantime, you start working on your own style and growing an audience that shows up for you because you're consistently giving value. You're making people happy with the work that you do. And eventually you'll be able to move off the corporate job and do your own thing and be the author to your own destiny.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, Jonah, I think you read the same note I just read. Your wife is watching right now.
Oh, yeah.
Her name is Ophir?
Yep.
That's her. So Ophir, hi, how's it going? Thank you for allowing us to borrow Pierre for a little bit. And she's like, this is Pierre's wife. Glad he's now drawing dollar bills, skull and a kissy face.
Good. That's good. That means that she heard what you said about the cute skull. So I'm good.
Yes. But also, if you guys, I'm offering this only to you, obviously, but if you ever need help in just bouncing ideas off in terms of pricing, Pierre, feel free to call me. Now that we have some kind of communication open, I'm more than happy to help, okay?
Awesome. I mean, does this look like a dollar bill? I'm not sure, but
it does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna work with that. Yeah, a few more.
All right.
It's gonna be faster now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got it. So, Chris, I'd love to pick your brain, like as I'm drawing anyway.
Okay.
I mean, I'm always like thinking about like my style, and I feel like I'm pretty. I'm not that focused with my style, I guess. I wonder like what's your take on that? And do you think I should focus and like narrow down? What do you think like is a strong part of that, like the thing that you like most about my work? I guess like I'd like to hear about that.
Okay. I'm on somebody else's computer right now. Otherwise, I would pull up your thing. Actually, I have my phone handy here. Sorry, guys. I'm going to just jump on Instagram. I'm going to look up your work. I feel like you have a pretty strong style. And typically, I would tell designers not to have a strong style because it's kind of boxing you in. But for illustrators and artists, they need to have a pretty consistent look because when they own that category, anybody that wants to do anything like that, they're going to hire you. So you should corner this market, right?
I mean, I think it's also relevant for guys like, I remember you have a live stream with Steve Reboyne, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he has like a really great style, which totally works for him. And I think he focused and like the way he did it kind of worked for the best for him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, so I'm looking at your work here, and I love the ones where you have faces and there's a kind of a retro vibe to them, their styling, or they've got that, I guess some people would call that hipster vibe. I like that you bring in a little bit of this punk and Japanese aesthetic, and I think that's your sweet spot. I love the stippling, and I love the detailing that you do in some of your drawings, like this wolf with his, I think it's a wolf with a three-eyed wolf and the fur and the stippling. I think that's so cool.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. I would say that some of your work also includes this like digital glitching kind of thing. And
oh, yeah.
I like that, but I think that's pushing you in a slightly different space. Right? I like the way that you draw people and animals, the proportions, they're not realistic. Like some hands or arms are really long, and I like the texture, the graphic color blocking that you're doing. Like this one with the Dog Lovers Club, that looks a little bit outside your style.
Yeah.
Right?
Didn't really work well, yeah.
Yeah. And I would just love to see more of these, the animals, the birds, and the people, and this kind of cool hairdos that you have, and how graphic the shapes are when you're drawing.
Chris, can you pull it up on that computer? So we can...
I can't.
Oh, you can't?
Because I have to log into Instagram, and I don't have my password.
Oh, I'll log in real quick.
Oh, you do it?
Yeah.
All right, Jonah's going to help us. Like I said before, I think your style is very marketable, and there's a lot you can, like right now nobody's on our screen. Let me jump back in. Sorry, it's okay. That it's very marketable, and it could be used for music festivals. It could be used for merchandising. Cool apparel and fashion. I think that could work really well. And if you keep doing that, I would not be shocked if one of the big fashion houses called you up and said, hey, we want to do some kind of collab with you.
Oh, that's That's interesting. So yeah, I mean, I do feel that I need to maybe like focus a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it got me thinking like about the direction. I guess, yeah, like characters is something that I really like to do, and I guess that's like that's more interesting than other things I do, I guess.
Okay. With Jonah's help, now we're on the Instagram page, and I'll now you guys can see this, right? So there's the information. It's Pierre_Kleinhouse. I think at one point I said it was a dash, but it's actually underscore. So my bad on that. And you can probably get all the relevant links to the things he's doing here. Now, if you're a client and you want to hire him or do a collaboration project with him, his email is kleinhouse.art@gmail.com. And so when I look at this, I think this is really beautiful. I think there's a consistency here amongst most of these pieces. Now, the one that stood out to me that felt a little funky is this one right here, the Dog Lovers Club. Even the topography and the way that maybe it's just too much color or something. This one, I don't know. This is like a famous character, right?
Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty, yeah. This one also feels a little out of your style. But the thing that I love, this cat, it looks like the Cheshire Cat, and this dog eating ramen noodles and incorporating the Japanese woodblock thing. I think that's very much in your wheelhouse, and I think it's really, really cool. I also love your use of patterns to define textiles and cloth. Really cool. Again, there's the wolf, another wolf there, and I love that. This,
Oh, I didn't log in. I forgot my password too.
How'd you get past this then?
I just went to his Instagram.
Jonah. So we're back to that. Nobody remembers their passwords anymore. Okay, so, well, I was going to say, like, I really do enjoy the digital glitchy things, but it does feel like it's another style on top of a style. So that's just my 2 cents. I love this woman here with the long neck holding up the cup of coffee and the way that you render her fingers. Joe, this is kind of embarrassing with this giant thing here. Like, somebody save us. Log into your account.
Refresh it. Look at my password.
Oh, refresh it? Okay, let me refresh it. Let's see what happens.
It'll go away.
Okay, good.
It goes down immediately.
Okay, let me get down to that spot there. It's embarrassing. Oh! Ah! Okay, forget about it. Instagram security is too good. Okay, forget about this, John. Let's go back to watching him work. Okay.
Oh, I'm back.
Yes, you are. Close this. What?
I have it now.
You have it?
Yeah.
All right, come here. What's your password again? No, I'm just kidding. In case you want to hack him. Okay. Jonah, get over here. I'm going to finish doing that while Pierre's finishing up. Go ahead. Yeah. So how are you doing on the cap? Do you think it's going to be kind of like a more playful shape?
What do you mean?
Yeah, like, is this the final rendering of the hat?
Well, now that you're asking, I mean...
I didn't mean it like that. I'm just curious.
It's work in progress. I'm not sure, man.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely tricky, but I'm going to work on the skull for now.
Mm-hmm. This piece right here, now we're back with Jonah's password.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. So, like, different textures, and I'm not sure if I watched this exact one, but I've seen you draw animals like this when sometimes the fur is drawn one way and it's curved, and then sometimes it's sharp, and all this. This is really awesome. It also reminds me of certain kind of like tattoo art, and I think that's why people are probably asking you to design a tattoo for them, and that's really cool. Like, when people start putting your art on their body, you know you got something right.
Totally, that's really cool. Yeah, actually, I really want to get into tattoos and maybe learn how to do it and do it like from time to time. Looks like fun.
Mm-hmm. So this one is really cool. I love her extended long neck, and I love the patterns and the striping, and all. This is just the work of a designer. I can tell that design is part of your DNA, right? Really good color blocking, and I could even see this being turned into maybe tiles that they use in like a really upscale hotel, right? Just a strip of these, right? And you could do that because it's so graphic. Yeah, and I'm a sucker for this kind of tattoo looking art. I really like it. It just makes me feel warm inside. I thought this illustration that you did was really cool too. Again, all the detail with the hair, the shape. It's got a kind of a cool old school vibe. The graphic blocking on the tongue, that texture and the striping looks really good. The way that you rendered her and her look with the black lipstick, it's kind of retro.
Can you zoom in on it, Chris?
Yeah. Hopefully
I mean, it's pretty realistic. I mean, I use a photo reference for the woman, and I'm not sure like if this is like a good direction for me. I'm still kind of trying to figure this out, actually.
No, I love it. I mean, I could see this, and I know you've done some skateboards before. One of the big skateboard companies saying, "Hey, we want you to do a line of 8 boards for us."
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, I'm actually working on 3 new ones.
You are?
Right now, yeah.
For yourself or for a company?
No, for a company in Canada.
Oh, all right.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I love skateboards. I mean,
yeah, you and skate
format.
culture, certain kind of fashion brands, totally in this place. Again, I don't know when you did this piece here, but let's take a look at it. Oops.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that old,
Yeah, but I like it. Just the typography and the kind of rendering of the feathers, very geometric, and it feels almost like armor as feathers. It's pretty cool. I love the little detail, the filigree, and the leaves and the botanical references and the patterning. I know another guy, Mr. I'm spacing on his name right now, a French guy. It'll come to me in a little bit. But he does all this kind of vintage retro thing with design. Do you sell your prints?
Yeah, I mean, I had like an online shop, and then I changed it, and I just reopened like an online shop with some T-shirts. Definitely something I need to develop more. Yeah, totally.
Like this series that you did here with the female and the different heads that kind of pop over her. I think if you did a couple of different women and the different animals, you would do it as a series. And I think that would sell well, because I think also doing one-off is okay, but if you're able to create like a show, right? In a show, you have to have themes and different subjects that you do a couple of different ways, and then that's what people really get into. Because I don't just want to buy a one piece, I want to buy like a triptych.
Yeah, totally.
The other way you can determine whether or not you want to do a style or not is you just look at the amount of engagement you get on a post. Sometimes we're kind of blind to our own work. We don't know what's good or bad. And then all of a sudden we see people responding like crazy, like, wow, that one was so easy to do, but they really love that one. And then give them a little bit more of that and test that theory. And if you're able to do that, the audience is very smart. Now, I have this theory. Okay, do you want to cut away from this? I have this theory. Every time I go to one of these art galleries, these small art galleries, obviously, where I can actually afford to buy the artwork that's on the wall, I walk around, and the thing that catches my eye, almost always, actually it's been always this way, already sold out. How did that happen? The one piece I want to buy is already sold out. There's already a red dot on it. Because I think there's something about this group intelligence. Like when you walk into a show fresh and you don't know anything about the artwork, your eyes are going to be drawn to something. And usually for me, it's usually color and shape. Like I'm drawn to it. Because you have to remember when people buy art, they have a spot in their house somewhere in mind, or their office or something like that. And they're looking for something to complement all that stuff. And I know that's kind of like horrible for me to say, but you kind of have to take a little bit into consideration that people are buying to beautify their home. And if they live in a modern house, if they live in one of those reclaimed homes that it's got all that old wood and steel, they're going to want something else. So they're drawn in by the color and whatever general shape and composition, and then it's everything else. So if you can figure that out and know who your customer and your buyers are, you would just give them that and they'd come in and you'd sell out. And after your first sellout show, you would just double your price, and you'd keep doing that until people stop buying everything.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think, making beautiful is important, like to me anyway. Like I mean, there's a conceptual side, but making beautiful stuff, eventually it's like something super important.
Yeah. So now I've also noticed here in one of your clips here on Instagram, you're drawing the cat, but you're using Procreate.
Oh yeah.
So sometimes you use Procreate?
I just got started. I'm not that great using Procreate, but it's really fun. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy it. And yeah, it seems like people are searching for this type of tutorials and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I definitely want to do more, but yeah, I did like just a couple of these processes with my iPad. I'm definitely faster with Photoshop, so yeah, it takes time to get used to it. But
yeah,
I think it's the fact that you can take it with you anywhere is amazing. And,
like if you did a series of like 3 cats, or 3 dogs, or wolves, or whatever, or 3 creatures, I think if you keep doing that and you show that on your Instagram, I think the audience is going to tell you right away, we want more of this, Pierre. We're in love with that. And I would do that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
Look, guys, here's the deal. He has 21,000 followers. This number needs to go up like now. All right, you guys go check out his work. It's Pierre_Kleinhouse. Show him some love. He's not going to bomb you with like crazy stuff. He's just going to beautify your feed on Instagram. That's it. Okay, let me cut out of this. Boom. Okay, so now you're adding...
I don't know, I'm just trying, I don't know what I'm doing, basically, but...
this whole time.
Yes.
I'm just,
You're doing what you're doing. You know, by adding some of those lines and curving them the way that you do, you're making the teeth not look flat. They look more dimensional and rounded.
I like what you did on
I'm
the
trying
nose.
to.
What'd you say, Jonah?
Yeah.
I like what he did on the nose.
On the nose.
Dimensions.
Oh yeah, totally like wing this one. I didn't have any idea what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even look at the reference. I closed this one off. But the teeth are always tricky.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing something kind of stylized, and it's not really. Skulls doesn't really look like that. So.
Right.
I don't know.
It's kind of like a squid skull, like from what's that film? Pirates of the Caribbean. That guy who comes out.
Oh yeah.
Captain whatever. Captain Octopus face.
Yeah, his beard.
Yeah.
It's like tentacles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's okay.
Okay.
I wonder if we need like a shadow like underneath everything. Maybe it will make things a bit more interesting.
Yeah. So. Now, I haven't eaten all day, so I think I have like 5 more minutes of energy before I pass out here, guys. So Pierre's going to do what he can to take us home. But then, of course, if he needs to work on this, I'd love to see this finished in whatever way that you consider finished somewhere so that people can tune in and see the final, right? It's tough to work under pressure and live when a couple hundred people are watching you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we can wrap this up, and yeah, I think we made a nice progress.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you just add a shadow behind the skull?
Yeah, I'm searching for the jaw, and I don't remember where I put it with all these layers, but oh, there it is. Yeah, I'm gonna add this one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Very nice.
So it's interesting. You're simultaneously flattening it out by adding a 2D shadow, but you add a dimension by creating a lip or an edge to the parts where his nose and his eyes are cut out. Some interesting decisions that you're making there. A lot of people have asked this question before. How do you find your style? How do you find your style? And I always point to the same reference. Back in the day when Image Comics was like the juggernaut of the comic book industry, I forget who said this. It probably was Todd McFarlane, but he said style is basically making the same mistake repeatedly. So if you draw realistically, like the masters from the Renaissance, right? There wasn't a whole lot of style. Maybe if you're Caravaggio, you are lighting with that Tenebroso lighting, the corner like cheek highlight, right? And it's very dramatic and vivid, and that's his style, and you can see it and you can recognize it. But as you get into more modern and contemporary art, it's like when they draw the hand differently, or they make the eyes bigger or the nose smaller, that's style. And saying like, you know what, this is shorthand. This is an abbreviation for what a nose would look like. And manga and anime are like that. That up pointed nose, or just like 3 lines to represent the shading of where the nose would be. That's style. So
totally. And I mean, I'll tell you even a secret about like my own style. I mean, I had a tough time making nice looking lines, like just to draw with the tablets.
Yeah.
Now I have this plugin that makes it smooth, but because of that, like as I was practicing, I just stopped using like lines, and now I'm just deleting all my lines when I work, and that's like the limitation, like just a stupid limitation of working on my computer, kind of forced its way to my style. So
wait a minute, you're using some plugin to help you draw smoother, curvier, nice curved lines?
Yeah, it's called Lazy Nazumi.
Wait, what is it called?
Right here, Lazy Nazumi.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Not on my screen, but Jonah can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it has like a few different options here. I'm just doing something that makes it smoother, and that's basically it. If you're using Affinity Designer, there's a pretty nice feature that kind of stabilizes your brush, so you don't have to do that.
Oh.
But in Photoshop, it's nicer than the I mean, you can add some smoothing here within Photoshop.
Yeah,
but
I see that.
I don't really like that.
Me neither.
I don't know.
I've tried it. It doesn't seem to work. It's not as good as the one in Procreate, right? When you use the curve assistant.
Yeah, so Procreate and Affinity Designer have this figured out, but for Photoshop, I use this plugin. So anyway, yeah, that's just because of that limitation. Like as you said, like the mistakes becomes like a part of your style.
Yeah.
I just couldn't figure out how to do lines, so that's my style now, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay.
Pretty much. I mean, it's not finished, but we can stop here.
Yeah. Okay, so a couple of things. Look at that, you guys. First of all, you just rewarded yourself by making it to the end of the live stream, because he just dropped a little secret plug-in that I didn't even know about to make your lines smoother. So if you want to get into this and you're unconfident or not confident about your line quality, that's a great plug-in. We'll include that in the notes below, because I couldn't see it, but I know Jonah did. And that's awesome. And I want to also say thank you to, like, again, I don't know how to pronounce your name. It's Abiori or Abori or something like that. Thank you very much for your super chat. Pierre, I love that you're so brave to do this live. Very few people are willing to do this stuff kind of live, and it takes a long time, and to walk and chew gum and draw and think and do all that stuff, it's a feat, right? It really is. So thank you for doing that. And we're going to wrap up the show. I want to let people know who we've been talking to, in case for whatever reason you've only been joining us in the last 10 minutes or so. His name is Pierre Kleinhouse. He's based out of Israel, and he's an illustrator, graphic designer. You guys can work with him if you wish, and if you see this work and you love his style, go check him out on social, on Instagram at Pierre_Kleinhouse. Go to his website, and also check out his YouTube channel and subscribe, like, comment, do all the stuff you guys know that you need to do. And that's it for us. Everybody, thank you very much. And I guess we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for being a part of our 1 billion mission. That's it for us. Thanks for being part of the donation. And I will see you guys later. And I got to play this song because I'm a little rusty.